What's up, NDL? Outsiders are back a little bit later on a Friday. Before we even get to the podcast, we need to address something that's happening live in the MLB The Show chat right now. So there's two things that need to be said. One, I need to get an F, and I'm gonna own it right now. I totally forgot that Vic, who is here, hello Vic, say hi. Let
Hello,
everyone know how
hello,
you're
hello,
doing.
hello. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah, you may hear in his voice he sounds a little disappointed, and that is because of me, and I totally own it. Because we've been talking about MLB The Show, and he had to remind me of a conversation that I forgot that we had. Like, man, I'd be totally down to play in a league. I just don't want to play 162 games. Like, oh, you don't have to worry about that. The leagues are shorter, not even a big deal. So we start the league, we're getting people, tagging people to get joining for the draft, coaches for the draft order and everything. And I totally forgot to tell him. So he's just finding out about it live and making his pick live. So, Vic, publicly, I would like to apologize. I apologize to you already, but I need it to be known to everyone. I'm a bad podcast partner because you should have been one of the first people that I told. So, my apologies.
It's all right, man. I'm gonna rock with the team I got, and we gonna do the damn thing.
Well, good luck to you and the Twins. The second thing that we have to address immediately is also happening in the chat, and we kind of were chopping it up with NTX before the show even started. Um, Wilds and CG unfortunately had to be collateral damage listening to this, but Duvid trying to sneak in here as a World Series player and act like he's not good, taking the Dodgers and acting like that's not a good team. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All shade thrown. And we're going to continue this throughout the course of the season and probably out throughout the course of the MLB season. But publicly shame David. He knows. Own it.
He
With that
knows.
said, let's start let's start the podcast. Oh boy. Unreal stuff. Which by the way, if
It
you
is.
guys didn't know, nice little plug for Hubbard. Uh he is the one that's going to be running the MLB The Show League. You could reach out to Jay Hubbard or myself, RB, Tim, NTX. We can tag you. It's if you can't find the area, we're still looking for six more teams, and then we'll be full. Be a shortened season. We're not doing a full 162. We just need to wait for the game to come out so we can get a full understanding of what we'll be able to do in terms of a league. There won't be an online franchise. Sorry, that's been beaten to death in private, but we'll make the best out of it,
Ain't
and
no,
it'll
ain't,
be something to do.
ain't nobody trying to play no 162.
Only me, but only offline. I wouldn't put any of you guys through that. So, with that said, let's talk some NDL football. We'll have plenty of time to talk baseball later. Maybe we have to do a baseball podcast. Well, let's start with the top 25. So we have the preseason polls in. Right now we have the polls open until midnight tonight for block one. So make sure if you haven't voted, get it in. Homie
Please
has,
vote.
yeah, Homie
Please
has
vote.
fixed the site, so things are running smooth again. Get your votes in. If there's any issue whatsoever, take a screenshot, DM Homie, and he can make sure that he can work with you to get your points. But looking at the coaches poll, we had three teams in the G5 ranked in the top 25. USF at 19, Florida International at 20, Washington State at 21, and then kind of the teams on the radar, you had Central Michigan at 28 and Tulane at 31. So I asked you, Vic, do you agree with the three teams we had in the top 25? And in terms of, coming into the season, did you think anyone was missing or someone that was on the radar?
No, I didn't think anyone was missing. Somebody on the radar now is ULM for sure. And of course Central Michigan and Boise State for sure. They Boise should definitely be in the next top 25. When we wake up tomorrow morning on game day, shout out to game day, Pat and Tim and Hubbard and everybody else, Penguin. Um, when we wake up in the morning, they should be in the top 25. I don't see why not. Um, and the other three should also be in the top 25. They're in my top 25 along with Boise and Central Michigan. Central Michigan, I believe, took the last spot. That's only because they didn't play a game and haven't played a game yet. And I don't want to knock somebody for not playing the game because, stuff happens. Life does happen. But I feel like the right teams are where they need to be, or hovering around the top 25 where they need to be right now.
Fair enough. Yeah, I wanted to interject because I just what you said, boys. I had to put my head down for a minute. But hey, best friends helping out best friends. If I can help my buddy get ranked, then at least I can say I did something positive this season. Because I'm definitely not helping the SEC with any rankings right now.
Yeah, I helped one of my buddies maintain his top five status in MC. So hey,
Friends doing
buddies help
solid.
buddies.
Yeah.
Just doing a solid.
Um. Yeah. Looking at the top 25, I don't really have any issues with it whatsoever. I did have USF and Florida International. I believe I think those were the only two that I had because I felt like if I would have had a third, it would have. I take it back. I had Boise. I think I had Boise at 22 or 23, and if I had a fourth, it would have been UTSA at the start of the season. Um, so I don't really have any issues whatsoever, and I'm in agreement with you on Central Michigan. I don't really see like, especially now with the blocks closing after 2 weeks. Chip's not going to fall behind. Things happen. It's not always easy to get games in when you're matching schedules, but you got 14 days to get them in. I know that he will, and he'll, fall in line in terms of games played really quick here. So no issues with that whatsoever. So let's go ahead and just start talking about block one. Pretty direct podcast this time without having to do the preview. So I think probably the one game that jumps out to everyone, and I'm sure live chat was really booming. Unfortunately, I've been sick for most of the week, so I've seen scores, but I haven't been able to see a ton of games. But I definitely was made aware by others in the league with the DM. So shout out to other people wanting to help with making sure that things are noticed. South Florida pulling out a road win against Penn State 42-35. So if you guys have listened to Game Day, which I'm sure you have, Saturday morning, big talk on El Jefe putting together a big out of conference schedule. And though he did lose to Georgia, he's certainly rewarded with getting a road win against Penn State. Man, 6 turnovers, big believe 3 apiece by both teams, and just able to find a way with an inferior team dealing with HFA. So, no, with him being Clemson in the past, he knows what HFA can cause for his opponents. Now he is having to deal with it and being able to go in the Penn State and get the win. Very impressive win. How, I guess, one, what are your thoughts on the win, Vic? And two, does it change your opinion of South Florida going forward? I know it's early on, but that's a pretty big win.
N- No, no, it doesn't change my opinion at all. I was pretty high on South Florida as we talked about it on the preview episode. Even in our day 2 draft coverage, I was pretty high on South Florida and El Jefe. I believe in the kid, so um, there's that. And the fact that we talked about this outside the pod, in the pod last week, if he can just get one more, if he can get one more win, I know people listen to this and I'm not trying to give out any motivation or anything like that. I'm just stating the fact. If he gets one more of his three key games as a victory, then he's on upset watch the rest of the year. Yes, in conference, and he may have to sweat some of those out, but it's pretty much smooth sailing if he get another big out of conference win this next block, because that win at Penn State was huge. I mean, huge. He never dealt with that type of HFA before. Because I remember he was saying in the chat, I can't see my receivers' buttons. I
Yeah.
can't see the indicators. I can't see this and why I can't see that. And he never has dealt with that type of HFA, knowing that Penn State is like a top five HFA in the game. He's never had to deal with that before. So him dealing with that in the first half did cause some turnovers. It was at least two turnovers that he had that he just pressed the wrong button, which can happen in the HFA situation because that's why it always takes you to know your plays. Please know your plays. And if you just calling stuff out there, then or you flipping the play and you forgot you flipped the play and everything like that, or you calling the audible if one goes through, you're forgetting the buttons of the wide receivers, and that happened to him. But once he got everything calmed down in the second half, the pressure started getting to Penn State, and he was able to march his way back and get the victory.
Yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on South Florida. So just for those wondering, this next block, a game against Ole Miss, and then one we're going to talk about at James Madison. So that's what the rest of the out of conference looks like. That Ole Miss game is huge because if you win that one, that's an SEC win, that's a Big Ten win. For everyone else in the G5, it's going to be really tough to overcome what those two wins could look like. We have to get to that. We'll have to see how he does against Ole Miss, but it would definitely be something to keep an eye on. Keeping with the theme of upsets, we have Toledo at home against Wisconsin. And Toledo was having it rough early on. They were down at the half, and a 28-7 second half, sparked by a 21-point fourth quarter, allows Toledo to overcome the Badgers 38-34. Toledo's defense playing well, especially in the second half. O'Neal with 5 interceptions to help fuel the comeback. So that is the second game, this time though at home for the G5, second game that we've noted that the G5 has pulled off a win against the P4. So good win for Football Kelly, a vet of the league. Obviously Nidler, the commish, vet of the league. Nice to see two older heads do battle. And good win for the Toledo program.
Definitely a good win for Toledo. As we said, and as I did say, I did call this that he's finally going to be definitely competition for Chip and the Mat. Definitely a rate just walked him down, walked Nittler and the Wisconsin Badgers down in that fourth quarter. It wasn't nothing spectacular. It wasn't like a one play drive here or three broken tackles here or something like that. Just literally walked them down. Like efficient drive after efficient drive. This game was going on as about three or four others were going on, including that South Florida Penn State game. But as you were going on in the fourth quarter, you just had to have your eyes on this game because, like I said, he was walking them down. The pass game got going late in the fourth, mixed in a couple runs in the red zone, but really the defense took over. I think Wisconsin was playing with their food a little bit and was thinking like, "Hey, I got this easy win. You know, I'm gonna go into the next block because of believe he failed in his last game. So Nedler was probably looking at it like, hey, I can go 1-1 and see about it next block about getting over 500 and stuff like that and getting off to a good start. But football, Kelly said, not so fast, my friend, and walked them down. And he had a couple shots. Wisconsin had a couple shots at it at the end, but two interceptions sealed his fate. And Toledo with the big win. The MAC itself with a big win in non-conference. That's good to see.
Yeah, a good one for the Mac. We'll see what Chip does in his games against the Michigan schools, but he has to be happy to see a fellow Mac member pull out a nice one. And uh, oh, we got to talk about this game. A week one
Yes,
matchup.
we do. Yes, we
Uh,
do.
Boise with the second half comeback against Kentucky. Don't know who coaches that team. Boise was down 21-10 at the half and a 12-0 second half. Two touchdowns, both 2-point conversions failed, but 12-0 in the second half, a missed field goal, a couple other misses for Kentucky in key spots in the early part of the fourth quarter. And Boise kind of doing what they did last season, starting slow. I feel like it's actually been the whole game cycle, starting slow out of conference in terms of how it looks in the first half or the first three quarters and being able to close games. We'll have to see what they do in block two. But no, a home win against a SEC school, I'd have to think that Boise's got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, Boise did start off the game slow, um, but did pick it up in the second half. It was a few mistakes on the Kentucky part uh, that caused them to get back into the game. It was some nefarious stuff that happened also. Hands not being up on defense, fumbles not getting got on defense. A lot of stuff going on. But my question to you is because you know Doc is in Kentucky. I'm not Kentucky. You are Kentucky. How did the loss feel for you, my friend?
Disappointing, if I'm being honest. Like the I'll never be upset about an interception. That's my fault. I believe in the second half, the first play of the second half, I threw an interception, and I'm pretty sure as soon as I hit the button, I called pick. So me and IROC talked, and I don't know what happened with that, but it's very rare that I guess it's a little more common than I expect. I'm not making excuses because I literally stared down the corner and just thought that he was going to break differently. The blue on blue, but when he was playing
Yes.
on his stream, he had black on blue. So I don't know, for whatever reason we're wearing
I
different
think
color uniforms
I think when EA when you're not wearing the default, it defaults on the other end, but it shows the jersey you actually picked
on yours.
on your end. Yeah.
Well, that's good because I mean the only thing I have going for me right now is swag, so at least I can enjoy looking nice while losing. But the that interception definitely shifted some momentum, and then uh the joys of playing with a freshman quarterback. I honestly didn't know that Boise had a top 25 HFA. And I think for the most part, it seemed like Cutter was good. Definitely a couple of throws would like to have back, but the interception was totally on me because I just stared at the corner and like, I think he's going to drift back. I think he's going to drift back. And when I hit the button, he was still there. I'm like, that's a pick. And then he picked it off. So, a bad read punished as it should be. Um, Good win for Boise, though. A win at home. They sweep the coach rivalry in the game cycle, and hopefully next game cycle it might be a little bit easier on defense to try to make stuff happen to try to get one of those wins back. But good win for the Broncos, and we'll see what they do as they finish up in out of conference play. Now, Not a lot of points in that game because we combined for what 43 points. So then we go to week two with Hawaii at New Mexico State. So it was tied at 20 at the half. And then, man, the Warriors just exploded for 28 points in the third quarter. 28-0 run in the third, like almost like, Steph Curry play back in the day, just bombing you with threes, and the game just blows open there. Hawaii wins 55-38. Probably going to be saying this name wrong a lot, but I'll get it right eventually. Alejado, 5 touchdown passes, 557 yards, and as you probably can imagine, a good chunk came in the third quarter. Hawaii's offense impressive. I think T Fan may just be getting his feet wet with those guys. Vic, what are your thoughts on Hawaii?
I think this was the overall call after the draft that a lot of us were like, T-Fan, Hawaii. It makes sense. And the proof is in the pudding right there. That Golden State type third quarter, I'm glad you mentioned Steph Curry because back in the heyday of the Warriors, that's how they would get you. They would lull you to sleep in the first half, make a couple adjustments, and just bull rush you in the third quarter. And it'd be like you have a 2 point lead against the Warriors in the first half, and then by the end of the third quarter, you're down 15. So this is exactly what happened with that. Um, 28-0 third quarter from Hawaii. So it's just like they were right there. New Mexico State was right there, and then Hawaii just pulled away. It's like he found his offense and his team, and I can't wait to see what happens in conference now. Like the Mountain West is shaping up to be a good one. You got Jokers in San Jose State. You got T Fan. You got I Rocket Boise. You got Big Z taking Arkansas to the wire earlier today. Like it's a lot of good competition there in the Mountain West.
And the cool thing about it is you have two coaches that are known for their offense that want to put up points and want to quicken the tempo. And then you have Big Z and IROC who want to slow down the game and limit possession. So clash of styles. We'll get some cross matchups between them. It's going to be really fun to watch once those teams, those coaches get in the groove, especially the two newer coaches. IROC and Big Z, they've had their school for a while now, going on 6 or 7 seasons. Seven, I believe, I want to say seven for IROC at Boise now, and then six for Big Z. So that level of comfort definitely going to be a big help. The question, I guess, will be how quickly acclimated can Jokers and T-Fan get to their team? And I don't know, that third quarter makes me think that Luis might have things rolling here pretty soon. We'll be keeping our eye on the Warriors.
Definitely, definitely.
And then we just go
Next
from,
game.
oh, yeah,
Oh, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead, go ahead.
Next game we got on the list is the Classics shootout of opening weekend. This happened on Saturday after the block officially opened for everyone. Rutgers 59, Tulane 56. This was a classic back and forth between Sergeant Zoot and Chrome. Chrome is hella aggressive, as we've seen throughout his two games and his Beefy Cup games. He is very aggressive. Sometimes the aggression comes through like it did in this game, and sometimes the aggression is gonna bite him in the ass, like it did against LSU. But still, no matter what, good back and forth offensive shootout. Zook came back. He was down 21 for a good period of time, but then just walked them down in the fourth quarter. Got a couple turnovers, got a stop, cut the lead to three, had the ball and a shot to win the game. but the pass fell incomplete. Didn't go for the tie in overtime. Went for the win and the touchdown, and was unsuccessful in doing so. And therefore, we have the 59-56 game. What are your thoughts on Sergeant Zoot going forward with this Tulane offense?
Well, you gotta definitely be high on. I wanted to say be high on the offense. I mean, Tulane had just shy of 750 yards on offense, 747 to be exact, which is ridiculous. But
Airplane level, some would say.
yeah, Boeing. If you know, you know. But
If you know, you know.
I still think I need to see more, and the reason I'll say it is Chrome is very good offensively. We put up great numbers last season with Middle Tennessee. But the one issue that they had, if there was any flaw, I mean, they were in the conference championship game, but they were giving up points at a high rate too. So they want to play a shootout. It's like we're just running, fast breaking, all game long, back and forth, just trying to get more shots up as opposed to sustained drive. So I don't know if this is, Tulane behind and being able to maybe take advantage of a coach that is still finding their way defensively now, a new situation, new team. So still trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work with Rutgers. Or is it Tulane's offense is already in gear? I think for me personally, I would just like to see more. But man, when you put up 56 and lose, that has to hurt. That has to really feel like once you cross 50, that kind of gonna have to be a win, and to lose that game definitely has to be disappointing. But still, 56 on the road is really impressive.
Very impressive, and it was just the last play. If you like, if I did watch that game for the most part, and it was just that last play, man. If the last play of the game went a different way, he would have definitely won that game, because it came down to that last play. But he fought hard. He fought back. He could have just said, I'll just try for another day, or I just experiment a little bit and try to work on some stuff for the next game. But he battled back and almost pulled away with the victory.
Good building block for the next couple of games. I mean, you're disappointed with the loss, but something that you could build off of for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely he can. All right. Next game we have is Georgia Southern 38, UCF 32. MGR is 2-0 to start the season. They did hold off a UCF rally. UCF tried to come back there in the fourth quarter, but Georgia Southern did hold on for the victory. MGR does get his signature P4 victory with Georgia Southern, so that is key for down the line. What were your thoughts? What are your thoughts overall on MGR starting 2-0?
Well, it's been talked about. I can say me and MGR had a chat before declarations were made, and he was telling me that if he was going into the G5, I just asked him, well, if you're going to leave Nebraska, do you have a plan? Because you don't want to just leave, because he could have kept Nebraska. So you don't want to just go into the draft and not have at least some idea of what you want to do. And he was very forthcoming, saying like, if I go in the draft, I'd like to get Georgia Southern. I've been able to play with them some, and I think I can work with them. And he's told other people that, and clearly that seems to be the case because he's looked good with them so far. Got that offense going and able to get some stops defensively too, which is always the thing that seems to be the struggle. Timely stops. That's all you need. You don't need to, dominate the game defensively. Just, hey, can I get off the field on this third down? Can we string together a couple of punts so that we can slow down the game, put some panic into the other coach? They're on fire so far. A big win against UCF. See Nasty, longtime vet of the league as well. So another matchup between two longtime vets. Love to see it. and a close game. That's really all you could ask for. And then the last game that we'll take a look at is a big G5 matchup that we had circled: Southern Miss and UTSA. Southern Miss at home, and they win this one 31-28. Both teams, for the most part, on offense, looked good, balanced, efficient in terms of converting on third downs. Just one turnover in the game, hit stick fumble that was recovered by UTSA. And then special teams, kind of the Jekyll and Hyde. You run a kickback, UTSA did, but then also missing two field goals and in a 3-point game. Obviously, either one of those would have been greatly appreciated, I'm sure, by Mike. We both were high on Mike at the beginning of the season. He loses in his first outing in the regular season. So, two things. One, we'll have to give some flowers to Southern Miss because I definitely will say I was wrong because my best bet was not only taking UTSA money line, but also took them for the spread. Obviously, wrong on both counts. But how do you feel about Southern Miss pick? And then also, have your thoughts changed on what's ahead for UTSA with Big Mike this season?
My thoughts haven't changed. To ask the latter first. My thoughts haven't changed with Big Mike. I think he's gonna definitely do work. This just was a stumble. Um, Southern Miss took advantage of the miscues, and that's all you can ask for. Like going into a game, and you're going into a game, and you don't know what's the outcome. Like, cause it's fairly similar teams, weight ratings wise, and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a hit or miss between both, users and stuff like that. So if you can take advantage of some miscues, the missed field goals, then you're gonna always find yourself with a greater chance of getting the victory. And he did. He took advantage of those two missed field goals and capitalized on it. Even though he did have the one turnover, uh, the turnover wasn't consequential to the final score as the two field goals.
Yeah,
How do
props.
you feel about missed field goals overall? Like, how do you feel about the missed field goals overall?
Funny you should say that. Missed field goals definitely matter. They could have a huge impact in the game, not just whenever you do the work on offense or the defense does the work in getting you a short field, you want it paid off. And it's really disappointing to not see it. And it can have two effects. One, when you're in a situation where it's, fourth and short and you're within the rules to go, do you go? Do you not have confidence in making the kick going forward? I feel like it could impact not just impact your ability to make another kick. You missed two, but now you're worried about now you're worried about the play calling. Like, hey, I'm in this situation. It's third and 5. Maybe if I get a couple of yards, I could run the ball because I want to, pick up the first down. And if I don't, it's fine. I can kick or I can throw it, on 3rd and 9. Now you might have to consider, hey, I need to just try to get yards and see if I can get in a situation where I can go for it. Or do I need to punt and try to coffin corner? Like field goals are tough. They have been tough on this year's game for various reasons. We talk about the hash kicks all the time,
All
HFA
the
all
time.
the time. So it
All the
definitely
time.
matters. And I think it's definitely, I'm sure Mike would be disappointed with the loss, especially seeing him with, Florida kicking 50 plus yarders on the road in the SEC. So to see him have, 6 points, lose out on that in the G5, I'm sure probably a little surprising for him, but I think he will bounce back. But that said, yes, we have to give props to Southern Miss. Most people I believe betting wise had them losing this game and not even covering the spread. So kudos to that program. Hey, they're the reigning Sun Belt champs, new coach, and they're showing their mettle early on. Big win for that program.
Big, 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 big win.
And speaking of big wins, I think that's kind of the theme that we had in block one. We, talked about a couple of them. There's also James Madison over Virginia Tech. I take it back. That actually might have been the biggest loss for, or the biggest win, I guess I would say, for the house and NDL Sharp. So Andy enjoying those bucks, NDL bucks, for everyone betting on James Madison, either to not win or not cover. Really impressive win over Virginia Tech. And we didn't have that in the recap, but as a whole, some really good outings by G5 teams against P4. A handful of wins and a handful of games that were really close. So I thought that there were some really interesting matchups, and the G5 represented pretty well. Really, really impressed.
Definitely did. G5 definitely represented very well. That James Madison victory was huge for them because we had talked to remember now we talked about them in the preview show and could they get that G5's playoff spot? And this victory over Virginia Tech holds huge, huge over their whole season because they did get that Power Four victory. Like getting, if you're G5 and you schedule your one or two Power Four games, if you can go 1-1 in those games or 1-0 in those games, if you just schedule one, then that is huge for the success of your season.
Oh, 100% agree. And a game that they looked, I would say the best way I could describe them is they look comfortable. Oh, Chase is going to make things difficult. He plays good defense out there in Blacksburg, but Glizzy, you could tell this is his second season in a row with them. He's 2-0 already coming out of block one, so he's feeling comfortable with what he's doing with the team, and it showed in that game for sure. Big win for him and his program, and exciting way for him to start the season. And even with that said, there just want to shout out some coaches that had close games but weren't able to quite pull off the upset. We talked about Rutgers and Tulane, but you had Marshall going into South Carolina, and South Carolina scores a touchdown in the fourth quarter. That game was tied 21-21 entering the fourth. They scored TD in the fourth quarter to outlast Marshall 28-21 at home. So the fact that Marshall was able to go on the road, deal with the HFA, and keep that within a touchdown is very, very impressive. We also had Virginia, which I know I did get to see some eyes on that with live chat, and I got to tune in to that game. Virginia, I know this isn't G5. Just want to give a shout out to them, almost pulling off a huge upset at home against Alabama. They lose in overtime 41-38, but hey, I know we're supposed to focus on the G5, but I just have to say I'm very impressed with what happened in that game. A hell of a fourth quarter, and man, I know Rain probably had to be sweating a little bit going into overtime, but really impressed overall with the
That's
G5.
that's our guy, Vic Tim over there in Virginia, right?
Yep.
He's gonna get somebody. Don't worry. He always gets somebody. At least one or two upsets per year. He's gonna get somebody.
And then last thing I'll say on block one, we're missing our oh man, we're missing our other podcast partner, Mr. Doc. He I don't want to get him in trouble, but he may not be in the best moods today, but just want to give him a shout out for being able to pull out the win against Memphis, a really close game. He was super happy
He
about it in our
did.
chat, and he's got one win. He was hoping for three, but he's still focused on Wyoming. So just know, Mark, he's still gunning for you.
He is
He's not
definitely
here to
gunning for
say
you.
it, but we're gonna say it for him. He still has his eyes on
He
you.
is. He is ready for you, buddy. He is ready for you. Um, do not play that game this weekend. I know you got some stuff going on, Mark, with the West Coast Conference Championship kicking off soon this weekend for sure. So, um, definitely want to wait till next week, to play that game. But Doc will be highly motivated for that, and definitely shout out to him. Also, shout out. Well, I'll shout him out later. It's another game that happened with a G5 over a P4 that will get a shout out for me, and the coach will get a shout out for me later on in the show.
Gotcha. Oh, a quick aside here. Conference tournaments coming up for the automatic bid for college basketball. I'm sure most know, but if you guys don't know, just every conference based on their conference record, seeded conference tournament, the winner of that tournament, an automatic bid into March Madness, and then all the other spots are at large bids. Clearly, most of them will be going to the power conferences, but really fun time of the year. Cinderella's having a great conference tournament run to find themselves into March Madness. Portland, we'll be rooting for them in the conference tournament. That's for sure. And this is honestly like I love March Madness, but I enjoy, especially as putting on my SDSU hat for a second, I really enjoy the mid majors and the conference tournament because it's truly that win or go home feeling. Because for some teams, this is the
Yeah.
only way that they can make the tournament. A team like Duke, like, hey, if they get upset, is it disappointing? Yes. Is it going to impact their seeding? Probably. But they're still going to be in the
Probably.
tournament. Whereas, I'm looking at San Diego State. They've had a couple of losses the last couple of weeks. Like, that's not really a lock anymore. Not only do they like it would help them to win, but they really need to have a good showing. They can't go out early. They might not make it. Portland, you know, Gonzaga's looming over there on the West Coast. But hey, if they have a hell of a run
Yeah.
in this tournament, they find themselves in March Madness. And then like some of those other small conferences that no probably people have never heard of before. Hey, this is the only way that we can make the bracket here. We have to win our conference tournament. So the stress and all the emotion, that's one of my favorite times of year for college sports. I'm excited.
Plus, also, plus, shout out to the goddamn Sun Belt. I'm sorry for cussing right then, but shout out to the Sun Belt Conference. They take a totally new approach to the conference tournament. They literally plays all their teams because certain conferences don't put all their teams in the conference tournament, but they place all their teams in the conference tournament. Their conference tournament lasts almost a whole calendar week. They go from about, I believe it's Tuesday. I have to double check, but I believe they started last Tuesday, and they go, yeah, they do. They started last Tuesday, and their final isn't until this upcoming Monday. Like they have been playing games every single day from Tuesday up until Monday. I believe they may have a day off Sunday, but their conference tournament literally lasts a week.
Stressful. Fun to watch, but stressful.
Exactly.
Well, we'll have that to look forward to in college basketball. And yeah, we've got some games to look forward to. Block 2 opening up tomorrow, and there are some games that caught our eye. The first one I'll take here is we have a couple of matchups in week 3. One battle of some longtime vets, both 0-1 looking to get their first win of the season. You have East Carolina hosting South Alabama. Which team do you think is getting their first win of the season, Vic?
Oh. Now, this is a tough one. I'm gonna go with boy. I'm gonna go with East Carolina. Coming off the tough road loss to NC State, I think they're gonna bounce back at home and take care of South Alabama.
Yeah, being at home, I think helps. East Carolina's a really talented team. Hager will be, I think he'll get comfortable here in a couple of games. This could be one that could help just feed off the home crowd and get that run game going. I think East Carolina is going to be able to pull this one off, maybe a 10 point, 14-point victory at home. And then
Next
probably,
game,
oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Next game we got on the slate is a sneaky good game, and that is Cal and Coach Chop, who had an impressive, very. I feel like it was the most impressive win of Block One.
The
Was his
Michigan
win
State
over
game.
Michigan State? Yeah, yeah, his win over Michigan State was the most impressive win of Block One to me. It stood out. Unlike all the other games, it really did stood out to me. He goes into New Orleans and faces Sergeant Zoot in Tulane. How do you see this one shaking out, and who you have winning?
I think this is going to be a really interesting game. This goes back to my point about Tulane earlier in the episode, talking about their offense. Like, is it a I expect their offense to be good. That's the strength of the team. But I'm not sure how good they are going to be. And I'm not sure if, Chrome defensively had his struggles last season. So I'm not sure if their offensive output is a result of some of that. And, obviously what you're calling with the offense. Can we expect that kind of output all season long? I don't think we'll have it to that level, but he's going to need some points because that Cal offense looked really good. And Chop is an interesting coach. I call him the Bill Belichick of do whatever it takes to win this week, game plan wise. That's what we'll do. If we have to run, we'll run. If we play defense, it's that. Like there is no I'm trying to pass the ball, and the way to beat me is you have to stop the pass. I feel like he's very fluid in play styles, and this will be really telling for Tulane because I just feel the way this game is going to go, even at home, Cal's offense will put up some points. Can Tulane get stops, enough stops on third down, and can they just keep the ball moving on offense? Can't turn the ball over. Western Michigan was really good last season under Chop at forcing turnover, so have to protect the ball. But those drives have to end in points, preferably touchdown. I think this is going to be a close game, maybe not high scoring in the 50s, but I think we see a game in the 40s. I think Tulane is going to be able to outlast Cal on a last second field goal to take this one home.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
I trust the quarterback. A vet quarterback like that, I
Got,
mean, he's
got.
got those two platinum badges. It's going to be really
Yeah.
hard to shake him. Those throws should be going where they're supposed to go. So the question is, can Tulane make the right reads? I think they'll make enough. I know Cal has some talent. I think Tulane's one of those G5 teams that can match up with the right P4 teams, and this could be one of them.
That's true. That's true. This is an interesting matchup, especially between both of the quarterbacks. Both of the quarterbacks can sling it. So it's all about who's going to get the most out of their quarterback in this game.
Who you got? Got to make a pick.
I'm going to go with Cal. I'm going to go with Cal.
Okay. Well, and then the last matchup we're looking at in week 3, a very interesting one. Both teams have important games in their other game for the block, but we wanted to focus on this one since they're playing against each other. That will be James Madison hosting USF. Uh, James Madison is 2-0 after block one. USF, the big one against Penn State, they did lose to Georgia, so they're sitting at 1-1. These would be two of the top coaches in the G5 going to war out of conference. And depending on how things play out for both teams and maybe some other teams elsewhere, this could be a game of importance when we're talking about head to head when other conversations, and I think you know what I'm talking about, may come into
Oh yeah.
play, but it's way too early to like focus on it. But it's got to be in the back of your head. So James Madison's at home. Who do you have in this one and why?
Oh yeah, this is definitely one of those type of conversations. Both teams coming off big wins from Power Four schools. James Madison from Virginia Tech and USF from Penn State. I got USF. It's just a little bit too much talent, and like I said, the difference maker, Byron Brown, will be the difference in the game. Yes, Glizzy know how to use that James Madison team. They do have some speed. They do have some speed at defensive end as well to try to contain Brown. But I don't think that's going to be enough. And I think he's going to go ahead and pull off the win here, USF, at least by a touchdown.
I feel bad for picking against Glizzy again because I also will admit I made the bet on Virginia Tech for block one. So I feel like he's turning into the Pod's version of Big Red from last season. He's going to have to show us, and this is definitely a big show me game. We know what El Jefe's resume says, what he was able to do with Clemson. He's been in the CFP multiple times, a big win on the road at Penn State. So already showing that he can deal with HFA. I I just look at this game and I'm torn because I want James Madison to play well, and I think this is the game I'll probably keep my eye on the most. Maybe the Cal Tulane game, but I don't know how I can bet against El Jefe in this game. The talent of the team, yes, you're playing on the road, but nothing is going to be worse. Like once you get Ole Miss out the way, nothing is going to be worse on the road for the rest of the season. And you do have a quarterback that you should be able to rely on, these G5 matchups on the road. I have USF. I'm not saying it's going to be a blowout, but I do think that this is going to be a game where they have control of the game from wire to wire.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think they're going to have control wire to wire. It will be close, though. Like I said, it'll be around a 10 point to 7 point difference the whole game. But I got USF winning. Well, next game we got on the docket is definitely close to my heart with Louisiana Tech. They're going up against the juggernaut offensive powerhouse of T-Fan in Hawaii. Uh, he's, he's already began his journey. He's already got an impressive victory, in impressive fashion with that offense. Who do you have in this one, and how do you think it's going to shake out?
This should be interesting. Actually, we're going to have to skip this one. I had the wrong team in there. My bad. Oh boy. Because this is a block one matchup. I had the wrong team for
Oh,
Louisiana Tech.
see, we
Ah,
go, we
trying to
go.
trying to give LA Tech some love, and I messed up. My bad. I'm just messing stuff up this week.
Just messing it up. Just messing it up.
Boy, oh boy.
Well, we
Well,
can skip that one. We can skip that one. We got the next game we got is Pitt versus San Diego State. These are coach rivals right here in Dealer and Big Z. I believe they play each other or they try to play each other every year. Last season was a close matchup, but Pitt took away the victory. Do you see Big Z getting the revenge this season?
Two of my favorite coaches in the league, so I mean, I'm always going to root for SDSU, always. But he's going to have his hands full. Dealer seems to have a really good grasp on that Pittsburgh offense. Man, they have had some battles. Some of those Miami SDSU games were a blast on last game cycle to watch. And so they've always had entertaining games. I I want to go with my heart and pick SDSU, but if I was putting money on it, I'd have to go with Pitt. It pains me to say. Dealer just I feel another year of comfort with that team. And he's played Big Z so many times. The comfort level of a coach. Like when you're playing against a coach, the more you play, the more you start to pick up on tendencies, patterns. You know where they want to go with the ball. You know what they want to like to call in these certain situations. The X
Yeah.
factor is Dealer came in last season with Pitt and he was learning the team. Now he has learned the team and he can show some extra wrinkles that I don't think Big Z may be prepared for roster wise. So I do think this will be a close one, but I do have Pitt winning this.
I also have Pitt winning this one. Like I said earlier, um, Big Z did come down to the wire with D Kane and Arkansas. Arkansas was able to pull away with that one, but it was a hard fought victory for Arkansas. But I do got Pitt winning this because of the same thing you mentioned. He does have a grip on this team. He does know where and how to position his players on offense and defense. He's got them gelled up like a well-oiled machine, and I feel like that well-oiled machine is going to continue after this game because Pitt's going to get the victory.
All right. We got an American battle for our next matchup. North Texas at Army. So Coach Drew
Oh,
Baca, one of the hosts of the Hot Route, the newest show in the NDL, and a great listen and watch. So if you guys do not tune in, you absolutely have to. They were great last night. Drew Baca's looking to get his first action of the season. You've got Army, man, Big Rye, longtime vet of the league. Last season was definitely a struggle. Right now he's 0-1, so just one game in so far. He would definitely like to get that first win this season a lot earlier. So we got Chewbacca coming off a bowl win, definitely feeling good about last season. How do you see this one playing out? Who you got?
I got North Texas because if the key to this game is can North Texas get stops early? Can he stop that triple option early? If he can stop it early, he'll be able to stop it often because you have to force or try to force Army to try to throw the ball a little bit. You got to stop those FB, fullback belly plays and fullback dives and um, rocket toss here and triple option there to both sides of the ball. QB, blast and QB trap and stuff like that as well. You have to stop those plays in the triple option. If Drew can stop those plays early on, then he's going to be effective. And I believe he will stop those plays early on. So I got Drew taking the victory here. Um, what say you?
I'm going to agree with you for kind of the same reason, but I guess this we have the same answer, but we got to the answer differently. I think the thing that helps Drew Baca in this case is that Army and Navy are both in the conference. and he's been at North Texas for a while. So he's got to see this style of offense multiple times this season. That is very, very helpful. There's really, I mean, people will try to put their spin on it, add their own take to it, but there's only so many ways that you can go about running the ball in a flex style offense or a bone style offense. And I think that plays to his advantage. Well, it'll be on the road. So maybe HFA might factor in a little bit, with being a conference game and all. But I do think that North Texas, I think this will be a fourth quarter game, and they're able to get a key stop late to be able to hold off an Army comeback. The experience of playing against this offense is extremely helpful. We talk about it all the time. It's all about being disciplined, trying to prevent giving up the 2 yard play as opposed to making a mistake to get try to make it -4 and then it ends up being a 30-yard game because you over pursued or tried to go for, go play out of your gap. Just stay disciplined, make them have to work the ball up and down the field. And your hope is that, as you said, passing the ball, third and long, put them in that position and force them to have to drop back and air it out. I think North Texas will win in a close one.
All right. Our next game we have is a doozy. I'll say it like that. It's a doozy.
Fun one.
Um, it is a fun one. It will be a doozy. I have another word for it, but it is a bad word, so I will not use it. We have Georgia Southern, who is 2-0, versus UConn. They will be at Thor's, Connecticut. Um, how do you see this one playing out? You got the run game of Dave. You know he loves his run game with the running backs and passing the ball to the running backs out of the backfield. He loves using his running backs throughout his whole offensive system and getting key turnovers with user and the linebackers. And then you have MGR looking to sustain success off the 2-0 record from block one. Do you think he continues his winning ways?
I think he can, and I'm very interested to see what impact Dave's linebacker play will have. Sneaky good user, um, between forced fumbles and interceptions. Sneaky good lurker, so you will have to watch out for him. I'm really curious to see how this game plays out because I think this could be one of those games that really it could be a step back for Georgia Southern as they go into conference play, or it could really give them a ton of momentum as they head into Sun Belt play. I also think this will be a close game. So I know Dave hasn't played a game yet, but he has played with UConn for so long. I think he could just, wake up and roll out of bed and boot up the game and be fine. He knows what he's doing with those guys. Man, I really do want to pick MGR in this one. I'm going to pick MGR. I think it'll be a close game, but I think that he will make the plays in the fourth quarter he has to make to pull out the win.
I believe in MGR with Georgia Southern, but I just don't think he will have enough to pull out the victory against UConn because of the experience. Like I said, MGR has used Georgia Southern, quite a bit, before the season, but Dave has had that team for what, 4 seasons, 2 different games, uh, so far since we've been back with the NDL. So I got Dave because of the experience and how he uses his linebackers on defense and how he uses his running backs on offense is something truly unique that a lot of people do not get too prepared for. So just because of that, I got UConn taking the win.
All right. And the last game that we will talk about for block two is your quintessential trap game. And it's weird to say that a conference game is a trap game, but I think most people, when they look at this matchup on paper, they have it should probably like who you think would win this game. Like if you just close your eyes, Vic. Just go with me here. Close your eyes. So we got Boise State at Air Force. Who wins?
And boys.
And I think that's the reaction that most people would have. But for whatever reason, this game cycle under different coaches, Air Force has made Boise struggle both in the Springs and in Boise in Idaho. So it's been a game that IROC has had issues with this game cycle. So the question is, Boise gets off to a good start block one. I believe last season it was Utah that was the out of conference game against Pat and then Air Force. And it's like a kind of a step back. The difference is, I think, 100%. Like, I'm pretty sure 100% anyway, but now it's like emphasized even more given the struggles with Air Force the last two seasons. Do you think Razorback will add to those troubles, or do you think IROC is going to figure it out in this final version of the cycle?
Yeah, I think he's gonna figure it out in the last part of the cycle here. I think Boise is gonna get the victory. All those close wins and a few losses there that he has taken, I think he's gonna let some frustration out there and get the victory by at least 14 points.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because I think there was the game against, if I'm remembering right, against Hank that is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
hilarious where
that was.
you have like a shootout with running games where just both teams are just breaking long runs for scores. Um, just not able to pull it out at the end of an interesting play on the sideline that had some impact on stuff late. And then last season. So I think Boise definitely will be paying full attention to this game. The badges with the quarterback probably help, with the upgrades. So able to rely on
Yeah,
him a little more in the passing game than maybe you could last season. But if Boise wants to have the season that they're looking to have, this is a game that they're going to have to win, and I think they'll be focused on this one. So I'm in agreement with you. I think that they're going to win this one by two scores. The run game will get going enough with the passing game with Matson, and they're able to finally shake their demons. But now we'll turn to
yeah.
some bets here.
All right, best
So
part of the show.
we like that. We talk
Yeah, oh
about
yeah,
it
we
enough.
good.
I've seen you and CG, or no, I think it was you and DK and talking in the chat about disappointment with
Oh yeah.
those parlays. So we're gonna do something a little different here. Last week we did our best bet and futures, but since the season started, we're gonna do our best bet and the bet you're most scared to take. So we'll start with the best bet. Of the games in block two, what is the lock for you?
And it's no disrespect to any of the coaches, but I got Hawaii's money line.
Hawaii money line, eh?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that
I
is
got
against
Hawaii's.
Fresno.
That is against Fresno. Yes. That is against Fresno. Fresno versus Hawaii. Hawaii is actually the underdog as of right now. You can get them at about plus 155 right now for the money line straight up.
Interesting. Well, I feel bad for saying mine. It's probably going to come back to bite me because I'm going to have to play one of these teams in block two. And I take everything with this school extremely personal. Um, we talked about Tulane a little bit earlier in their
You
offense.
go. You too.
Yeah, I'm just setting myself up to just have a bad weekend. Tulane, we talked about their game against Cal. They're going to put up some points in that game, but it's their other game that has my eye, and that's hosting Colorado. Um, it's probably like, look, crash my car. Definitely no offense to you, respect you. Love watching you play in the G5. Had some really fun games with Charlotte. A good watch. Think people know how I feel about CU. Their roster is really interesting though because it's not because I don't like them. It's also because I live in Big 12 country and I see them on TV a lot, whether I want to watch them or not. And I look at the roster on the game and I look at the play on the field, and it feels like there's some players on CU that maybe are rated a little higher than they probably should have been. I'm definitely looking at the defensive side of the ball. But the big issue that they have is the linebacker. And I think Tulane's speed can take advantage of that both in the run game and in spreading out the zones in the passing game. Tulane is at home, but they are not the favorite. They are plus 175. I'm probably would feel a little more comfortable with the spread, but I mean, come on, it's CU. It's either win or lose. I'm gonna go with the money line. The way that Zoot has had those boys rolling on offense, I think that he'll be able to put up points at home, and CU won't be able to keep up. So if I have Tulane winning the game, I'm gonna take the money line plus 178, or sorry, 178, 175, earn some Andy bucks back.
So for our total parlay, we have the Hawaii money line versus Fresno, the Tulane money line versus Colorado, and the Boise money line versus North Carolina. They are also an underdog. I believe I want to correct myself. Hawaii was the favorite at minus 155, not plus 155. So we did have a favorite in Hawaii, and two underdogs in Boise and Tulane, and we're taking those three in a parlay, and that parlay has the odds of plus 974. So that is a good three-leg parlay right there. You have Boise State money line, Tulane money line, and Hawaii's money line. And based off the results in block one, those are two great steals. You're possibly beating the books, especially off the Boise State money line against North Carolina. Um, the books had them as an underdog. I believe a 3.5 point underdog. I don't see them really being an underdog here, so definitely put all your Andy bucks. If you want to do a straight bet, definitely put a lot of your Andy bucks on Boise State's money line.
Hopefully
And
that
on our
luck won't let them
parlay.
down.
And on our parlay. And on our parlay.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I need to make some bucks back.
Same.
um, so then now I have to ask you then, which bet scares you the most? Like
Uh,
definitely not even buyer beware, just delete the text. Like someone sends you the text and you just delete it. Now I'm not even gonna open it.
So if somebody texts me or DMs me in the Discord and say, what you think about Cincinnati plus 6.5? I'm going to send them a gift that says, get the fuck out of here. Um, that is the scariest bet right there. I don't believe they played a game yet, so you never know what you're going to get in Cincinnati. Um, no, it's just I would just definitely that's just definitely a stay away from me. That's definitely a stay away. What about you?
Man, I feel bad for UF because he's a Florida fan. He was really hoping that they would fall just a little bit farther. So trying to, backup plan, see what he can do. And we'll see how he looks with the Bearcats this season. For me, though, mine was the over on the Central Michigan State game, and for two reasons. So the over set at 50, it, the over underlines 56 and a half. And I know we're in a game that tends to favor points, but Chip loves to run the ball. I just played him in the cup. And they obviously, we watch him here and on the Outliers. They're going to try to run the ball. That's what they do. They want to slow the game down. So automatically slowing the game down means fewer points, and more so because you're facing a P4 school in Michigan State that probably has some speed. So you're gonna have to take chunks of yards, which Chip is good at doing. But it's really difficult to break off those, 50, 60-yard touchdown runs. Michigan State just played Cal. It's coming. Hughes is coming from the G5, and no, I know he's disappointed with his outing in that game, just putting up 14 points. I'm not sure what that offense is going to look like over the course of the season. But I just think the pace of play with Chip slowing the game down and maybe even Michigan State taking a step back and saying, you know what? Let's go back to basics. Let's run the football. I just think this is going to be a slower pace game, more runs than you're used to seeing. Thus, you're going to get fewer opportunities for points and possession. So I'd be a little nervous about looking for this game to push towards 60 points.
I agree with you there. I think it may come close to 60, but I think Chip's gonna take the air out the ball and try to run the ball a lot on certain positions to limit the possessions that Michigan State will have.
Agreed. If he has his way, I think that game is going to be a under, because that would
Yeah,
mean that his run game is going very well and lots of long drives. Well, that said, we've made it to the power rankings. So, got to ask you, who do you have in your top five at this point in the season?
I have a similar top five, but two teams entered in. I have Central Michigan, FIU, and USF. That was the same from last week. But I do have James Madison and Boise State in my top five. What about you?
Okay. Well, I've had to make an adjustment because one team is out. That would be UTSA. But for the most part, my rankings are the same. I have USF one, Central Michigan. I understand that they haven't played any games yet, but again, the block isn't closed. There's one more week. I'm not going to penalize Central Michigan for not playing a game just yet. There's still a week to get those games in. So I still have them sitting at two. Florida International still sitting at three. I have Boise at four. And then I have James Madison entering the chat at five with Hawaii lurking. So I'll ask you then, of the G5 coaches or teams and coaches this block, who do you think has the most to gain?
Hmm. I think Boise has the most to gain, being that they have this game with North Carolina and then the game with Air Force. They pretty much, if they can go 2-0 here, they pretty much have smooth sailing throughout the rest of the Mountain West. They do have some hard games with, I believe, do they play Hawaii or yes, no?
They, I can't remember. Let me look that up. I don't think they do. I don't want to be a liar, so I'm pulling it up right now.
But I know they do play San Diego State. That's
Yeah,
always a tough one. That's always a tough one there. So
they don't play Hawaii.
okay, that's always a tough one, and of course the Mountain West title game, always a tough one as well. So yeah, I feel like they can have a spot to finally potentially put themselves in a committee meeting. I've been a part of several committees, and they have never been brought up, unfortunately. So I feel like this may be the year when they can be brought up. Don't sabotage my prediction there, I rock. Don't do that. Um, but but I feel like this. be the year that they can be in some committee conversations.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go a different way, a team that we haven't talked about at all this episode. I think they have a huge, this could be a huge block for them if they go 2 and 0, and that's going to be the number one, 21, 21st ranked team in the nation, the Washington State Cougars. They play at Hawaii week 3, and
Yeah.
they host Washington for the Apple Cup week 4. Duvid and T-Fan are going to put up points. That's how they are built.
It is.
So Washington State is going to have to keep up. And so far, I mean, 56 against Fresno and 47 against Outlaw. So the Cougars have shown they've been able to put up points. They did it last season as well. I think with the way Hawaii started to the season and Washington, Duvid's success with Troy last season and that offense, all that speed in a rivalry game, Washington State going 2 and 0, I think would be very telling of them going forward this season.
Yeah, yeah, I can agree with you with that. I can definitely agree. Um, Washington State is another one. They, them and Boise, they can put themselves where they haven't been before, and that's in committee discussions later on in the season. If stuff goes right here in the beginning of the season, they always tend to stumble. Um, Washington State always has a difficult time with Washington, no matter who the user has been. They've always had a difficult time with Washington. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this time around against Duke.
Agreed. Well, I think it's time to shout out some coaches. I know there's someone that you were hinting at earlier, trying to tease. Who you shouting out this week?
Coach Jared Allen, not the Hall of Famer, but Coach Jared Allen. He's a new coach in the NBL. I played him before the draft and a scrimmage. Very good coach. Uh, he was shouted out and profiled yesterday on the hot route, and I just want to give him some extra love because he did pull off the upset a few days ago against North Carolina at North Carolina. He did pull off the victory with UL Monroe. So good shout out to you there, coach.
All right. Love to see a new guy get some love. Um, Mine, of course, I can't just stick to what I'm supposed to do. I always have to be different. I just want to give it to the out of conference schedule as a whole. We've seen some really interesting matchups so far with some G5 teams, maybe, no, in some cases, maybe biting off more than they can chew, but giving us some entertaining games. It's nice to see some of the, coaches at the top of the pecking order in the P4 willing to take on a challenge early on and out of conference, and then there's still more to come. So just want to give kudos and shout outs to guys for giving us some entertaining games, whether it's the matchup of teams, whether it's David versus Goliath, or whether it's vets that have played each other a lot. It's really cool to see the variety in games that we've had so far this season before we get into conference play. And unfortunately, as mentioned earlier, Doc couldn't be here with us tonight. So we'll have to skip the award watch for this week with Vic.
Definitely, definitely.
I'm guessing you
But
may
what
have something for us.
it'll be next week for the awards there. Yes, of course. Got the ball nor fact of the week. We love a good ball nor fact. We're staying on the theme because of the magical season that Indiana was on this past season. And, before we officially turn to next season, once all the spring games happen and stuff like that within the next month and a half. Um, we're still reflecting on last season. So a thing that goes to that last week was, because they were one of the losingest programs ever. We the question was about who has the longest losing streak in FBS, and it turned out to be Northwestern. Today's question, Miami got. I mean, I'm sorry, not Miami. They didn't get it done, but Indiana got their first national championship. Correct.
Yep.
Correct. So now there's teams that are on the clock as far as getting there first. So my question to you is, which team can you guess which team holds the most all-time wins for a program without a national championship?
Ooh, that is a great question. And I cut it in half. Is it a power conference team?
It is. I can give you that.
Okay. Whew.
Don't start asking about no conference and all that shit.
I won't do that. I just needed to. Are we talking power? Or are we talking mid major?
We talking power, cause it ain't really been too many mid majors that are mid majors currently. It's not too many to be honest with you.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a G5 team. This that we talking about P4.
Whew. Well, Lexi in chat guess Wisconsin. So I'm gonna take a different guess. I'm trying to run through teams.
She is incorrect.
Hmm. Because I'm not gonna lie, I feel bad because I wear a couple of hats. One of them is a Kentucky hat, and I am trying to compare them to Vanderbilt and thinking in terms of them in comparison with some other teams. I know those haven't exactly been winning programs, but I
Yeah,
am pretty sure Vanderbilt hasn't won. I know Kentucky hasn't won. So like I can at
I
least
think Kentucky does have one. I think.
oh no.
I think so, but
Well then
we can
Kentucky
look
is
it
not
up.
the answer for sure then.
Kentucky is definitely not the answer. No.
Yeah, because I'm like they don't have enough wins. Man. Now this is where not knowing college football well hurts. Because I have to think about if a team has won a championship first.
Yeah, Kentucky has a national championship.
Was color T no, probably not.
No, hell no, hell.
Like not even color TV, like they probably still might even before railroads so long
No, it
ago.
wasn't before
Nobody
it
saw.
wasn't before it wasn't before railroads, but it was before color TV.
Yeah, a long time ago. Um, hmm,
But they do have one. They do have one.
I learned something new today because I honestly didn't know that they had one.
The fact that I knew that, but the fact that I knew that let you know how much of a nerd I am.
Man, I'm ah ah I'm gonna guess Virginia, but I don't even know if Virginia's won, so I can't even say it with confidence. Oh,
I can check that. Anybody else in chat?
let me look. NCX says UCLA, but says they may have won one in the
That's a
40s.
negative. That's a negative. They've won. They've won. They've won.
And I think that's it right now. Like that's a brain racker. I'm really curious who it is. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on.
Virginia has never won one. That is correct. But they are not
Mm,
the answer. They are
I
not the answer.
I just thought of it. I just saw it in chat. Oregon.
Negative. You would think so
Really?
over the last.
Really?
You would think so. You would think so over the last 25 years. It would lead you to believe
I
that
forgot football's been
they
played
would have
forever.
one, but they really wasn't relevant. Oregon, outside of like I think a couple years, I want to say with, I want to say Bob Greasy, but that might not be the quarterback. But outside of a year or two back in the day, they wasn't relevant until the 90s. Oregon was not relevant. They wouldn't be bottom dweller like Kansas State or Northwestern, but they really was a bottom dweller. They would win 2 or 3 games and then lose the rest. Like they wasn't relevant until the 90s.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna
so
take
is
one
Virginia
more guess.
okay? All right, all right.
Because if I remember right, they weren't always in the SEC. South Carolina?
No, that's not the right answer. And no, they wasn't always in the SEC. They started in the ACC actually, and the ACC fucked that up. We're past the 39, so I can cuss. Um, the ACC messed that up over some basketball stuff. Because it was some stuff going on basketball wise, but South Carolina withdrew and became like mostly independent and in the Metro Conference, independent for football and Metro Conference for everything else after they left the ACC in the, I want to say, late 60s, early 70s.
All right, we got one
Um,
more guess, but I want to add something before I say it, before I
they
say it.
they they have not never won a national championship, but they are not the answer.
Gotcha. So I'm gonna. There is a guess in chat, but before I give it to you, I just want to add something. So it's Pat. Please cover your ears, or any USC fan, cover your ears. So my oldest cousin is a huge college football fan, and he is a huge USC fan. His dad played for USC, and man, you want to talk about the quickest way to piss him off? I know USC is generally referred to, and I'm a SoCal guy, so for us, it's always referred to as the University of Southern Cal. But man, when I bring up the University of South Carolina, it's like you got just the fake SC. Man, that triggers him so much.
I
It
would
triggers
agree
a
with that
lot of
though.
things.
I would agree. But I would agree with that though. I would actually agree with that. And you can uncover your ears, Pat, because I mean I agree with that. Like, don't nobody know South Carolina as being USC? Yes, the acronym spells that. Yes, but no, we only know one USC, and that's University of Southern California. Like, come on now. That's I don't know why they tried to bite that or trying to bite that, but no. I hate that they have that in the game. And they chant that now. They chant that now at the real life game and they go USC, USC. And I'm like,
Yeah,
but y'all not USC. Like, what are we talking about?
I'll admit it's kind of hilarious to get, back in the day, when we had college football on the PS2, and I'd be out there, hanging out for the summer, visiting for a week at my grandma's and like, yeah, boot up the game. And of course, he's going to pick USC. I'm going to pick Nebraska most of the time. But just every now and then, just to get under his skin, let me go ahead and pick South Carolina and just see that eye twitch. Uh, because then that's the game where you lean in, like that or UCLA. No one picks Notre Dame. Sorry, RB. But the other guess is for NC State.
Who gets that?
I wish I knew. Like, I don't know if that's homie's name in chat.
Come on, homie. Come
but
on,
I don't know. I
come,
honestly don't know who that is. So I'm curious
come
now,
on,
but the
man.
guess was NC State. Ah, it's Big
How?
Brian. It's Big Brian. Okay.
Oh, okay. Come on, Big Brian. Come on now. You gotta think with you got your brain is turned off on that one. Come on now. That's the nigga. I ain't even gotta
Oh,
look that up.
well, they
I
haven't
know
won,
that.
right? That's half the battle right
I
there.
can look up if they won one, but I know for sure that ain't the damn house. They have not won one. They have never even finished in the top 10 of a final poll before.
Hmm. Who is it? I'm stumped. I need to know.
All right, so Chad is stumped. You're stumped.
Yeah, because the only other thing
And
NCX says is like Illinois or some silly shit.
definitely not Illinois. It is very fun to everybody on the show and in the NDL. The answer is West Virginia.
Really?
Really? The answer is West Virginia.
That's disappointing. I don't know
They,
how else
they
to
hold
respond.
they definitely hold the most all-time wins by FBS program that has never won a national championship. They don't even have a claim one.
Hmm. I never would have guessed. I'll admit I was thinking about teams in the Big 12, and then I just skipped over that conference right away because my first thought was I assumed Kentucky didn't win one, so I guess I'm a bad fan because I didn't know that they won one, years and years ago. But my first thought was, well, what about Kentucky and Vanderbilt? But then I had to think, well, how many wins do they have? 'Cause, like you have to have some at some
Now, I
point.
think, like I said, I think Kentucky and Vanderbilt got some pre black and white, everybody listening to the radio as national championships.
Okay. See, this is my
I know
punishment for not
Kentucky
being a
has.
huge, huge fan of
I
college
know.
football.
I know Kentucky has one. I looked that one up. I'm not gonna make you guess the year. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Theirs was in 1950.
Dang. Hell, my
Yep.
dad wasn't even thought of then. The
And I
one
know
time I can say that with El Jefe.
my parents wasn't alive neither. My
Oh
parents
man.
wasn't alive neither. My parents was not alive either when that happened. And I know Vandy's is before theirs. I know that for sure. Theirs probably predate World War II, I believe.
Hmm. Well, that's interesting. But
But West Virginia, they have almost they're 20 wins away currently. Um, they have 780 all-time wins.
well, they're definitely getting 800.
Yeah.
NTX. Oh man, NTX says Vandy for sure has an all white dude, slow ass natty.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Let me look that up before we
Oh
get off
man.
here.
Well, while you're looking that
Oh,
up, I actually have a question for you. I think my
oh
question
my
might be
God.
an easier answer.
Jesus. Oh,
What
go
year?
ahead. Go ahead.
No, what year?
Oh, they have six national championships in football.
Really?
They are all before 1925.
Okay.
That's why I was like, oh Jesus, because
Yeah.
like the answer came up. Their first one is in 1906. They went back to back in 1910 and 11. They won again in 1908. That was a dynasty. 1918, and then they went back to back again in 1921 and 23. They
Hearing
was a
Vandy
dynasty
and back to back in football sounds weird. It just does.
twice. They went back to back twice. They was a little dynasty.
Man, that's
They got like a Spurs like or Warriors like dynasty.
I learned something new today. I honestly had
Five.
no idea that either Kentucky or Vanderbilt won a championship, let alone that Vandy was multi-time back-to-back champs. I'm
I said,
fascinated.
like I said, I kind of knew about both of them because I'm a nerd and a nerdy program for everybody to watch. If you look it up on YouTube or if you have the ESPN Plus or whatever like that, a documentary is like a 9 or 10 part documentary called Saturdays in the South. It basically gives you not a full, but almost full history of the FCC.
Hmm,
So of course you can't have a full because that shit gonna take more than the allotted time that they had. But um, it's a like I said, it's a 9 or 10 part documentary on the full history or whatever they can get in of those 10 hours history of the SEC. It literally goes from the beginning until like I think 2019, 2018, 2019, something like that. 2020, one of those. Now it's missing the last 5 years because it's an older documentary. It's from like I think it is from like 2019, but it gives you from the beginning to 2019.
hmm, interesting.
Yeah, and it breaks down every little nuance of every little team and their origins and a whole bunch of stuff. So that's how I definitely knew about the Kentucky one because of that.
Okay. Well, I have a question for you because we're getting closer. Well, obviously there's a game that I'm pretty excited that's coming out next week,
Oh yeah, oh
and
yeah.
I'm a pretty big fan of that sport too. So one, well, actually, it's a trivia question plus a
We
question.
both are pretty big fans of that sport.
Yeah. Um, I'll be watching a lot of losses this season, but a lot of growth, hopefully, with some young players. But there is one team in MLB that has never played in a World Series. Do you know which team that is?
Seattle Mariners.
Is this going to be the year that they make it there?
No,
Man, that sounded like a really confident no.
only because it's a long season and you never know. It's not nothing against Seattle or anybody that roots for them or anything like that. It's not that. But as you know, baseball is a long fucking season. Like the regular season itself is a legit 6 months.
Yeah.
And and anything can happen in 6 months. I still remember to this day, like as far as a barometer of what could be for a team, I remember when the Nationals won the World Series a few years back and they started 19-31 and went on to win the World Series. That's how long seasons can be.
Ah, man, you're
Like
not kidding.
you have to think about it. Yes, basketball can be long, but the Hornets and this is a perfect metaphor. The Hornets, for example, started like 5-14, and they just now at 500, and it's only like 5 weeks of the season left, and they gonna be like a 7 or 8 seed whereas the Nationals went 19-31 to start off and went on to win the whole damn thing.
Shout out to Steven Strasburg, SDSU alum. Go Aztecs.
Young Juan Soto too.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we got for this episode. Just want to give one extra thing that I thought was pretty cool. I don't know if you heard about this, Vic. I saw a video on Twitter earlier today. And you know I'm a big wrestling fan. I know you're a big wrestling fan too. There
Yes, sir.
was a kid that was selling candy, dressed up as Penta, selling candy, but didn't have the money to buy the action figure. So was selling candy to try to, raise the money or earn the money to buy it. And then
Mm-hmm.
do you want to take a guess of who that kid may have met?
I'm guessing he may have meant the real life Panther.
Yep. Got the action figure, got a picture, and got a moment. It's super, super cool to see.
I
Yeah,
do, I do, I do know this. He is one of the wrestlers that will go out in town when he's in town. So if he's ever, in Colorado where you at, you may be able to see him. You may be able to catch
I think the last time that I saw uh, non-wrestling related, because not me training or anything like that, but outside of the realm of wrestling, just seeing a wrestler out and about. I know I've got to see Randy Orton out in San Diego, and I'll have like I'm I'm an adult. I can take a step back and like and have that moment in my head, like, oh wow, it's Randy Orton. And I'm not trying to go over there and bother him. It's just cool to see like, hey, just functioning outside. But when I was growing up, I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods, and they were in town, and my manager was a big wrestling fan. And dude like literally just dropped his lunch when he heard that Bobby Lashley was in the store. And just legitimately he was just following him around the store. So I remember at the time I was working back in footwear, so he was actually coming in to get some shoes to train in. Super, super chill dude. Hard to I wouldn't say hard to keep my composure, but hard to not feel intimidated because he's a really big dude. I'm not a big guy, even at my biggest. Like, it's hard not to feel intimidated that he could just backhand me through the wall. Super cool moment, very, very friendly. So yeah, I feel really happy for that kid to be able to have that moment. So, kudos to Penta for taking the time out of his day to make that happen. And we'll end it on that note. So, hey, on to block two. Good luck to everyone. Yes, even you, see you. I have to say it because we play each other. And enjoy the games. Again, saying shout out to Game Day. They'll be leading us off tomorrow morning. Check them out. Let's have a good block to everyone. Make sure get those polls in.